Welcome to Wisdom Journey, the podcast where we explore the path of building an online business from the ground up. Here, I share my wins, struggles, lessons, and experiments so you can learn, adapt, and grow alongside me. I also interview experts in their respective field. Whether you're just starting out or looking for new strategies to scale, this is your space to find inspiration and practical wisdom. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to take you on this journey. Today on Wisdom Journey, we're joined by Audrey M. Wiggins, also known as the Tech Diva, a powerhouse brand strategist with over 30 years helping entrepreneurs elevate visibility, build trust, and convert attention into real business growth. She's the founder of Altogether Marketing, host of the Tech Diva Biz Talks podcast, and a lifelong entrepreneur who has built brands from the ground up through adversity, reinvention, and a deep commitment to empowering others. If you're an online entrepreneur who wants your brand to look, feel, and sell like a premium business, this episode is your blueprint. Welcome to the podcast, Audrey.
Thank you, Wisdom. I'm excited to be here and be with you again. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, it's uh, it's it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Yeah. Um, if when we talk about branding, and what because a lot of times people use terms and terminologies for branding, and at the point in time, people have these big words, but they don't even know what branding is. In the simple terms, if it was being explained to a 5-year-old child, well, what exactly is branding for a business?
Yeah, it's the representation of a company, basically. So, but it comes in the form of how we treat our customers, our visibility, our look, what our logos and graphics, those types of things and colors, and our brand messaging. That's part of the brand, but basically it's how we show up in the marketplace. It's how customers or prospects relate to us or our company. And so that
Yeah.
sets the brand apart.
I'm curious, before we go into the the conversation, you call yourself the Tech Diva. You know, for entrepreneurs listening, what does that title represent and how did it come to life?
Yeah, I just look like a tech savvy marketer. I love technology, so I go a little bit deeper than the average person. A lot of times, these types of services are are tagged out, or tagged out, and other people, so someone else is doing them. So I'm a hands-on marketer. I like that. I like what's happening behind the scenes, the how it works type person. So I don't go all the way deep and like an engineer, but I definitely enjoy the how of things, how things are made, and so that relates to the impact that they have on a community or business or clients.
Yeah, you built Altogether Marketing. I like the name. I'm
Thank
really
you.
curious how you came up with that name. You know,
Boy, actually, it's a personal reason why I came up the name. It really didn't have anything to do with business. My dad had passed away December 6th, 2006. And my mom had passed away September 27th, I think it was, in 2001. So by the time my father died, 6 months later, grieving, I was still grieving, but I was feeling better. And I would say, I feel like I have it all together now. And so I wanted to relaunch the company and, bring it, back out. And so I named it All Together Marketing. So I have it like all together. Yeah. Yeah. And it fits well with what I do as kind of like an all-in-one organization or one-stop shop for marketing and advertising.
yeah, you once created an accountability cycle with your nieces that helped you complete a 10-year delayed goal. Can you share what that experience taught you about consistency in business?
Yeah, I think you're talking about the online courses, how that
Yeah,
that came into being. Yes, so sometimes we work hard and we're out here grinding and putting things together and creating and and there's like a 10-year period of just being not feeling successful, not feeling good about myself or good about the product. And it's like, well, people really buy into what I'm doing or they believe in this. So basically I didn't believe in myself because the product was really good and I still have it. I'm still going. And sometimes, that's what happens. We get down on ourselves, we lose faith, and therefore we don't produce, and it takes a decade, right, sometimes to pull stuff off.
well, I mean, you've helped everyone from solopreneurs to Fortune 500. Can you share with us a transformation story of an entrepreneur who went from invisible to unforgettable.
Yeah. Let's see. Of going, from the customer going from invisible to visible, right? Yeah, yeah. So there's one instance where the customer, they have their website, they're doing things, but not really promoting themselves. So sometimes you can be out there, it's like a house on the street. You can be there, for 10 or 20 years, and then all of a sudden you get new siding and put some shutters up, put some flowers and some shrubs, and it kind of like pops out, right? People, oh
Yeah.
wow, look at that house. Was it there the whole time? Did they just build it? And the same thing, was with one of my clients because they were really kind of hidden like that. And so we redesigned her website, put that together. She did a photo shoot and just really just began to blossom as far as her digital footprint, and people began to notice, and it's coupled with not just the design but also doing the social media, so the digital marketing piece as well, and that definitely helped a lot, and that brings up the confidence of the individual, right? So she started joining like local business organizations and really giving back to the community, and it's really paid off for her.
Okay. I wanted to get into branding scenarios. Let's say a creator has a great product. They spend
Mhm.
time and hours. They've actually made a product that's great, but their brand looks inconsistent, different colors, different fonts, different messaging. How would Tech Diva Audrey clean this up in 48 hours?
Oh, wow. Oh, I have 48 hours to do this. Oh, wow. Come on, Wisdom. Give me a little more time. All right, 48 hours. We're doing a crash, boom, bang. Okay, so I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to like grab you by the shoulder. I'm not going to really touch you, but I'm going to grab you by the proverbial shoulders, virtually grab you
Yeah.
and say, hey, 'cause obviously the person knows that, so they're coming to help. So it's not like I'm really putting the person down or the organization down. They're coming to me because they know that they need to make a change. So
Yeah.
that's exciting when they come knowing that way I can go to work. So first thing, I do an analysis, and that is, sort of, so take, some hours or whatever. And now we have technology to help, but, to look at what the person has been doing. Okay, so what's their messaging? Social media sites are they on? What's the content on the website? Are they matching as far as the wording, like you said, the graphics and the
Yeah.
messaging? How can we so then we can come up with a single message? Whether you modify it to fit a different platform is one thing, but the same underlying theme of who you are, what you do, and the impact you make. And that, it keeps it simple. And then we can start doing that and then looking at the different photos that you're using on those different sites. And that's kind of like the visual piece of it.
Yeah.
And nothing's more important than that messaging is with this. So make sure we get that. But then the consistency of design. So then we can work on design once we've got the messaging. And that again, it builds confidence in that business owner as well.
Oh, okay. So we would look at what they're already doing and go back to the drawing board and do work on the messaging. And then before we step back out and start designing and the write-ups and all that.
Right. Yes. Making sure that we're in the right places. Do you need to do a newsletter or do you need to start doing video posts, doing reels or something like that to really to bring you into focus? Like who are you serving? Because they've got to know who you're serving. So sometimes the messaging is all over the place and different because they're trying to serve everybody instead of serving like that one main niche or that one main market. Because you could always serve, various types of customers, but there's one that you're focusing on. If you think of a bullseye and you have the dot in the middle, but then you have the outer ring. So you'll still serve people in those outer rings, but your main messaging should resonate with a bullseye.
Yeah. Well, whew, I like that. Okay, go back to the messaging and then the design. I think most of the time, most brands, the reason why the design and the brand feels off place is because they've never been on the messaging board. They've never been in the messaging room where they're like, okay, what do we want to talk about? What do we stand for? Who are we? They just allow things to play out. Well, we just post content. What happens, happens.
Right, right. Yeah, and you can't do that because this is your child. You wouldn't just sing your child out just any kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, think of our baby, our business as our child. Because we represent the business. So if it's looking all crazy and funky, that's how people are gonna receive us, and they aren't gonna want to work with us.
Yeah. Okay. We'll fix the brand in 48 hours. Hopefully.
Because that's like the crash course. So we get that out.
Yeah,
We come out with the big
yeah,
bang. Then we can kind of sit back and evaluate what we did once we put it out there. So maybe take a week and go through it and see what the results are and see where we need to tweak things and do we need to add something else. But it would definitely it can be a quick 48-hour transformation for sure.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's not just enough to put the message. It's also important to always keep checking for subsequent content we start creating in the future. That's okay. Yeah, this tallies with what we stand for. This tallies for what we want to tell, the message we want to put out there.
Yeah. Yes.
There's so many things happening in the world. There's AI, there's marketing, there's so many things, right? As a beginner online entrepreneur, um, who feels overwhelmed by the marketing, the platforms, the AI tools, the trends, what would you have them stop, start, and simplify immediately?
Yeah, definitely. I would take an inventory of all the different software programs that they have and maybe dump, throw away some, keep others, or maybe you find something new that might be kind of an all-in-one, but definitely sit with the mentor or coach so you can bounce those ideas off of them and to be able to help you to get clarity and focus around what you want to do or need to do to because you're overwhelmed. And as far as having like the social channels, we try to show up everywhere and we'll start, work a few channels until you can get those together with some type of consistency. And using automation can help with that as well. So that'll relieve some of that overwhelm, relieve some of that pressure to be able to produce or create more content or recreate our product wherever our zone of brilliance is, and to be able to work better in those areas. So using technology as a support system, because in the beginning you may not have a team. Say you're a solopreneur, which a lot of us are. Some people hire what is the virtual assistants, but if you aren't to
Yeah,
that point where you can hire somebody, use technology to help you, automate some of your tasks, or wait till you can afford to. But definitely start small. So pick what you think can have the biggest impact for you. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I love that. So we analyze and we delete the things that are not bringing that much return, so we can focus on, because we have very few resources, few we have limited time, limited money to spend, so we want to make sure we're getting the highest return on investment.
Yes.
We've talked about brand messaging. For a lot of content creators, the problem they face is they tell you, well, my niche is not big enough, right? And for someone who wants to launch a podcast to boost authority, but they're like, my niche is it's too niche. Uh, what's your tech diva prescription?
Yeah, actually, if their niche is so narrow like that, they'll probably be more successful than they think they are, because they're zeroing in on a community that needs whatever it is that they have to say. So I would say, be excited about that. And there's millions and millions of people in the world. So you'll reach as many as you can. I'm going to reach you because there's nothing new under the sun. There's probably other people in your same area. But when you really narrow it down, so maybe you have the main niche, the main title. So how can you say, for instance, if your market, are women, that's broad, right? That could be anything, so narrow
Yeah,
that down. Are they young? Are they older? Are they college educated or just coming out of high school? Do they work jobs? Are they entrepreneurs? So narrow it down to the least, what is it, the common denominator, and
yeah,
and zero in on that particular area, and you really make a difference. So you would and we all start at number one, right, with one listener, one download. So just know that even with that tight marketing, that narrow niche, well, I think you could be real successful. And it takes time to grow it. So it goes back again to being consistent. If it's going to be weekly, do weekly. If it's going to be monthly, make sure you're showing up monthly. If it's every 2 weeks, be there every 2 weeks. But and then
yeah,
use technology to help.
yeah. Hmm. Okay. That sounds like a lot of work.
No, it's really not, 'cause once you get in it, what happens is you get excited. It's, "Oh, yeah, I serve women." And if you look at who you already serve or that resonates with you or you resonate with them,
Yeah.
you'll see that niche is, like, right there in front of you. You really don't have to look far.
Move. Huh.
Yeah, you really don't. Because I know when I first started in business, like over 30 years ago, and I always said like my customer base or my niche were small businesses, but that's a whole lot of different
Yeah.
variables, different sizes, I mean, different products, skill sets. I mean, that's huge. So then there's a saying of that if you serve everybody, you serve nobody. And it wasn't until even later years, like real recent, that when I looked at who was the majority of my clients today, not, years ago. And I like to call them wise women. So they were women like over 50, a little bit tech challenged. So I like to call them wise women, instead of like, I can be seasoned or whatever, but little old ladies like me. But and so and it's hard to commit to that, but once you really find out who your market is, all your messaging centers around that and you attract those people.
Yeah. Yeah. It, how do I explain this now? It makes it easier, right? Once you understand your brand, once you understand who you're trying to reach, it makes it easier to create content. It's not as overwhelming because now you're not like you're not guessing. You already know. Okay, I'm creating content for let's say you had a podcast that teaches single women how to build online businesses, or moms or first time moms how to build online business. It's very specific, and
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, yes, these are the issues moms face, and I'm not wondering. Uh, I said I created a podcast for everybody to build a business, and I'm like, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, but that's how we
Yeah.
started, because my first podcast, it was, in 2010, and it was all video. We didn't have, I didn't even know about really audio and all that stuff because I sold a video tool. So my market was, the name of the show was, and it's still out there, Make Something Happen TV. So
Oh,
people were making something happen. The majority of the people were entrepreneurs, but then I interviewed pastors, interviewed political candidates, just kind of, got government officials, everybody, like you said, comes through there. And so that it was a common denominator of making an impact on the community, but it really should have been, even narrowed down even more. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
But you start and you realize because you'll see what you're doing and then you can just go back to the drawing board and just like your regular business products and you said, okay, we need to go in this direction. This is really what's gonna make this thing happen for us. This is how it's gonna.
yeah. I mean, if you have a clearly defined problem you're trying to solve, it's easier for you to obsess over that problem and come up with better solutions day in and day out, versus when you're trying to solve 50 problems and you don't even know what's the actual problem people want solved.
Yep.
Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
Working with businesses on the brand, right? What are the top three branding mistakes you notice online entrepreneurs make, and how can they fix them this week? Hey, quick break. Before we continue, I'd love for you to join the Wisdom Journey newsletter. Every week, I share exclusive insights, tools, and behind the scenes updates to help you stay ahead in your own journey of building an online business. It's simple, practical, and built to help you grow. Sign up today for free at the link in the description. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, one is using a personal email. That one's pretty easy. So instead of using, xyzbusiness at gmail.com, why not get xyzbusiness.com or .org or .biz, .net. So branding your email after your business. So definitely that's a mistake that businesses make because having a branded email address off your website or URL helps with your SEO and your footprint for searching. It just adds and just solidifies your brand even more. So that's one thing. Stop using a personal email. And the other part is when you're doing your website, the content. We always go for features and benefits, and that's good because people want to know what they're getting. But a better way, because I came up like that, and the better way to word your content is the impact. The outcome. If I do this, what is it? How does it impact what I'm doing now? What's the
Yeah.
yeah? What's the real payoff? Not just the laundry list of the features. And, the other thing I would say is promote thyself. Some people, are afraid they think
Uh,
yeah, being
Promote
braggadocious or
thyself.
whatever. You're not really trying to be an influencer, but at the same time, you have to be seen in the marketplace. So you have to put yourself out there. And so, if you have a favorite social media where you're going to show up all the time, where you're talking and what is it, engaging with what other people are doing, clicking the love and the likes and the little hats and making a comment on other people's posts. So definitely being community minded, I would say. We don't
Yeah.
Sometimes our mistake is that we're not community minded in the social scene, the digital
Promote
social scene.
thyself. Tech Diva chapter 2 verse 3. Promote thyself. I love that.
Thank you. You brought it out of me, sister. You brought it out of me.
no, like people don't. Okay, I'll put it this way: most people, their closest 5, 6, 7 friends don't know what they do, and
Mhm.
it sounds strange, but if you like take a phone call and say, "Hello, Russian, what do I do?" Like I don't know, you do a business, like what kind of business do I do? I'm like, I don't really know because nobody talks about it. They're like, oh yeah, I don't want to be too salesy or stuff like that.
Yeah, because you can do it without being salesy and pushy. And just but it helps though to have that, to talk about what you're doing out there on social media. And if you can also, create the business profiles, the business pages, and that makes it easier. You're thinking about that you're talking about yourself, and then you can share that post from your
Yeah.
business page to your personal profile.
Yeah, I see what you
Yeah.
did there. Yeah.
Mhm.
At the beginning of, of the episode, I talked about um, business owners making their business look premium, right? Some of the
Mm,
things you mentioned as the branding mistakes and the solutions, those are things people could also do to make their business look premium. But I just wanted to ask a specific question about branding upgrades to instantly make the business look premium, without spending too much money.
yeah. Yeah, so there's actually kind of some not kind of some kind of some of the same things of
Yeah.
upgrading the email. You can also look at your website. Is it 5 years old? Maybe it's time for a refresh. And because I've had to go through that, and even my next iteration, I just took it down, and now it's up for construction because things do we get busy and it works, right? And because it's there and people still coming by, but we need to refresh what our content, so that's just like spring cleaning. And you go out and you clean the yard out, and you pull the weeds, and you put down some fresh shrubs. You didn't move. You're in the same place, but you're
Yeah.
just making it look better. And so look at some of that, and then see if you're wording it. Maybe you need a new tagline. There's nothing wrong with changing designs either. If you want a new logo, or that can be part of your refresh, but definitely the words on your site, that written content. So that's a refresh to be able, if you want to look at your brand and bring it more current. That's one thing I definitely say. And get a photo shoot, get a new photo shoot. 'Cause sometimes your photos get to be kinda old because the time, and I don't think we do it on purpose, but sometimes the time just goes by so fast, and I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, that picture's 5 years old, it doesn't look like me anymore." So I know I had to go in the process of, "Look at my hair color," change my
Uh,
clothes out. I was like, "Oh my goodness."
wow.
Yeah, so that's
Uh, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
have good photos. I
Yeah,
think a lot of times when they say make a business look premium, at the end of the day, the way I'm trying to process it in my head is
mhm,
um, if you make your like let's start with physical business. If you make your storefront, your business place look premium, right? And design look premium and allow the place, to be clean and all those things, and make people just go there and not have a terrible experience. At least we'll start with that before we talk about not have a great before we talk about having a great experience. Same thing with the website. A lot of people, you
mhm.
go to their website and it takes forever to load. Sometimes you're like, what do I do? And like, I don't know what to click. What's the next thing? And people confused.
Yeah, yeah. So if your website is slow loading, there's some technology behind there that needs to be updated. And also, as far as it's called the PHP, because that helps with the speed. Where is your content being pulled from? Is your website put server, because they're all over the world. So so
Yeah.
you always want to make sure you're choosing a server that's closest to you. So when somebody is going to your site, then it doesn't take forever to load, because it's like, thousands of miles away. Because one thing people have to remember, the cloud is not in the sky. The cloud is a
Yeah.
physical location, okay, on Earth in a big some kind of server room somewhere, physically located. So, it seems like it's magic coming to our devices, but no. So you have to think of that. And a lot of times our photos may not be optimized, right? They're too large for the
Fast
web.
loading. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and but a lot of now when you're updating your website, some of the built-ins will optimize your photos automatically when you load them in there. So look at that, or either you just do it, yourself and make them smaller. But that definitely will speed up your website. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For online entrepreneurs building from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, India, the Caribbean, where digital competition is global.
Hmm.
What tech tools should they adopt immediately to?
Yeah. I would say, as far as like your hosting, make sure you're paying for hosting and don't use like shared hosting, because that would help as well. So you have your dedicated server or using, whatever your websites are. I know I sell those tools on altogetherdomains.com, and even though I'm in the States, everything can be utilized and set up for countries over in our the great continent of Africa. So use that, or your Caribbean, as you mentioned. So just making sure that using tools that are they're not going to be stateside necessarily,
Yeah.
because, I use providers over in Europe and different places. Even in Spain, there's providers that I have found through the years that are, doing the different hostings and stuff. But definitely look into, if you can get a good internet connections. I'm not totally familiar with all the types of connections that you have. I will be, because it's a little quick sidebar wisdom. I'm coming to Ghana in February.
Hey! Wow, wow, wow. That's
I'm gonna
fantastic.
find out firsthand what's going on over here with the
Wow.
internet.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my
Why
gosh.
Ghana though?
Yeah, I cannot wait. I
Why
cannot wait. Yeah.
Ghana?
It was a friend of mine was going with a tour group, and just happened to be Ghana. It just happened to be Ghana. So this will be my first trip over to the motherland, and so my next trip, it could be to Nigeria, because
I'm
I know
offended.
Nigerians. I know. It's
I
like,
I am
how come
I
you
am
ain't coming to
offended
my
right now.
country?
I am. Why Ghana? Like, oh,
Okay,
I see what you
okay.
did there. You
Ain't nothing happening
purposely
over there.
decided to offend me. I see what you did.
I know.
Ghana.
I should have
It's all
just
right.
said I was going to Africa and just let it go. I just
Just
should have
let me
just
go.
stopped it right
Like
there.
Ghana. It's all right. No
Yeah,
problem.
it
Okay.
just happened to be that's where the people was going,
Uh,
so I'm going. But
yeah.
definitely Nigeria, oh my goodness, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I shall be there.
That
Yeah,
would be fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
When
yeah.
would that be?
February
Oh,
26th.
that's okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
about 3 months from now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
let me
so
know. It's not like I can, just show up because it's Ghana, right? But just let me know and like,
yeah, for
hey,
real. Right, exactly. At
yeah.
least I can talk to you on the continent, right?
Uh,
Instead of being
like we're
over
already
here in
doing
the
now.
States. Yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Wow.
yeah.
That's good. That's one of the things in my bucket list to travel the world.
Okay, yeah, that's excellent. Yeah.
Go get there. Okay.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Yeah, you've been in business for a long, long, long time, over
Yeah.
30 years, right? You've been in business since the print era, Um, what are the biggest shifts entrepreneurs must understand if they want to survive the next 5, 10 years?
With each generation, there's different technology, and we really need to engage in it. Engage in and be as an early adopter as you can. And I can remember when I first went into business, we didn't have all of the fancy smancy computers and stuff. By the time I did, there
That's
were computers.
expensive.
I know, I know. I can remember when I was still working and that we did not have computers. So I was there when the desktop computers came out that we have today.
Yeah,
And so I was, so I jumped on that, and fortunate to have it at a job so I can learn those things. But be a lifelong learner. That will take you a long way. Don't overdo it, because we can get caught up in the classroom, whether it's virtual or physical,
yeah,
and we don't produce. So definitely be a lifelong learner. Learn what's current, learn what's coming in the future, together and be a part of that wave.
Yeah. Well, definitely gets uh adopted technology. And currently the technology I can think of right now is AI. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can solopreneurs and small businesses use AI in
Mhm.
branding and other areas of their business without losing their authenticity of voice?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we definitely have to get involved with that, and sometimes I think people don't even realize that they may be using artificial intelligence because it's built into different things that we do, and
Yeah.
it's been there for 20 years. I mean, it's not new. What's really new is this generative AI. That's the sweet spot, or the newer, I should say.
Yeah.
And so people are jumping on that. They're doing the AI agents or clones and, taking it really a long way. But this technology has been there, but we can't be afraid of it. Like you said, not to lose ourselves into it and still be authentic. So it's the human factor. I mean, it's created by man, and so which means man controls it. So we can't be afraid of that. And garbage in, garbage out. That's what we used to say years ago with computer technology. So what we put in is what we get out.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite tech tool right now for small business visibility?
Oh gosh, this is I had run into this tool last year and I really got into it this year. It's an all-in-one type marketing platform. So it contains your email marketing and your artificial intelligence. So it's all inclusive in there. It's on my website. It's called Content Creator Machine and people can link off to it. It's an affiliate link. So
Okay.
yeah, but I'm excited about that because it replaces some of the tools that we may have. Like we have a laundry list of all this software that we use. So some of the software that you might use is already integrated into it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have a separate subscription for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
content
Yeah.
creator machine. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
look that up. It's on my website because I'm an affiliate, y'all. So
yeah.
that's yeah, so that's another thing that people can do is talk about monetizing and, being involved. It's the next level down, I think, from being an influencer, but, just some of the tools. And a lot of tools I
Yeah.
recommend, I don't get anything for, but I know that they work well for us.
Yeah. And one of the things I've noticed is with being a content creator, not just an influencer, is that you get to a point where people want to know the tools that you use to run your business. They just want to know. It's not like, oh, you recommend, they start asking you, Audrey, what do you use for the website?
Yeah.
Audrey, what did you use for your podcast? And you start getting all these questions, and people want to know the specific tool you use, not they could
Yeah.
search it online and see a tool, but no, they want the one you're
Yeah,
using.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yes, yes, and I do have a list on my podcast page, and I have all of those tools and resources that I use and that I recommend listed on there. And it's just the Tech Diva BizTalks.com, and there's a page on there called resources. Because you're right, people do ask, and we need to share.
yeah. You strongly believe podcasting is a powerful brand asset. And I just wanted to put it out there. What is the biggest reason every entrepreneur should consider hosting a show?
Marketing. That's the biggest reason. Marketing.
Uh,
Yeah. It's easier now to get out there and put up a show, throw up that shingle, so to speak, online and have a show, have your topic. But basically, yeah, it's marketing. And whether you're being a guest or you're hosting a podcast, and you meet a lot of people like minds that are doing similar things that you're doing. And that's important. Again, it goes back to that relationship and, being in community with
yeah,
like-minded people. But a podcast is definitely a marketing tool that we should have in your toolbox.
yeah. Well, and what do you think intending podcasters or current podcasters could possibly do in terms of branding and all that to make their podcast stand out instantly?
Yeah. Really do some research. If you do it with a friend or trusted advisor, or we go to some trainings and workshops. To know we're part of Podmatch. There's a lot of interesting trainings and things going on there. But if you go to use artificial intelligence to really help you to come up with that. But for your business, as far as like the name and the topic that you want to cover, as far as the branding, I would you know, do something maybe different or an extension of your main brand, and so that it has its own personality, but still supports you at the same time. When I say
Yeah.
support, I mean, relates to your business at the same time.
Yeah. Well, and what podcast growth static has worked the best for your clients or your own show?
Oh, the podcasting I think it's worked great for my clients. This year I've done guesting myself, but not as much. This is the first year that I've really done a lot of guesting. And what it does, it helps you to hone your message.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important because a lot of times you do get stuck in the grind and the message is out there on our website. We don't remember what we wrote. And, but it helps to solidify and really,
Uh,
you know, uh, oh my gosh,
yeah, I love that.
you
Uh, ain't
yeah.
nobody got time for that.
Right, exactly. We don't. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're within the message. Great, awesome. Put it there. And like,
Yep.
okay, but
Yep.
when you get asked that question like maybe 50 times, you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're right. What led us to you? What led to you giving that example was you talking about what worked for growing your podcast and all your clients too.
So what helps me to or tactic to growing my podcast is, being a part of, being a part of a podcast group for one thing, because we're all supporting one another, but being able to be in front of different people and different audiences. So that makes a difference. And so when I go on LinkedIn and I share, well, this week's guest is so and so and so, or either I was on, I've guested on Wisdom's show, and that it begins to bring things together, it gives you a kind of it gives you an authority a bit, and that makes a difference, and people sit up and they listen more to what you
Yeah.
have to say. So, that has definitely helped, and just really staying again, getting training myself, but practicing that public speaking.
And the last question I want to ask you is, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs battling imposter syndrome, especially women and late start entrepreneurs, like people who they've never really done entrepreneurship till probably they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Probably after retirement, they're like, well, yeah, I finished the job. I like to do business. And like, I don't think I know what I'm doing. And basically people who they've never really done it. Right.
Mm.
Yeah. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, I would say find a trusted advisor or friend, and share your dreams and your ideas with that person. Always when you want to share information, to make sure you're sharing with somebody who has empathy for you, or that's interested in what you're doing, somebody who can help move you forward, because we all I know I've suffered from imposter syndrome sometimes even now, but it's just making sure that I'm talking to the right people. And if I feel myself slipping back, because everybody doesn't understand what we're doing, and they can be hurtful in their word, and their connection back to you. And sometimes they
Yeah.
don't do it on purpose, they just don't understand what you're doing, and they don't know how to ask the right question. They just say, "Why are you doing that?" Or, "That's not gonna work," or, "1,000 people are doing that." Yep, and I'm gonna be 1,001. Because you
uh,
brings your own flavor. I mean, if you think about all the different flavors of ice cream, and then there's different fast food restaurants, and they sell kind of the same food,
yeah.
but they all have something different that sets them apart. So the authenticity, be proud of who you are, respect your craft and the gifts that God has given you, respect that and have faith. And again, get into community with someone who can bring you up and hold you up when you're feeling down.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Audrey. It's been quite relaxing and enlightening chatting with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I always enjoy being with you, Wisdom. Thank you.
Yeah. You talked about your website. Where can listeners um go to learn more about the work you do and also connect with you?
Yeah, so they can go to altogether.biz. So that's one ALTOGETHER.biz. And you'll be able to link off to any products or services that I have, the podcast, social media. So you'll be able to leave me a message if you want, or sign up for my weekly newsletter. So altogether.biz. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the description so listeners can click and go directly to the site. And once again, what's the name of your podcast?
Tech Diva Biz Talks. So you'll find it on all the platforms. It'll be out there. You'll be able to find it if you Google it or do the Bing search. You'll be able to find it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'll put that in the description too. Thank you so much, Audrey.
Yes, you are so welcome.
Thanks for tuning into Wisdom Journey. I hope today's episode gave you practical steps and fresh ideas to keep moving forward. If you found value, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with a fellow creator or entrepreneur who'd love to learn too. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and the link in the description for more resources, experiments, and lessons straight to your inbox. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep walking your own wisdom journey. Yeah.